Welcome to Build University. On behalf of the Iowa Intermediary Network and Iowa Skilled Trades, we are excited for this work-based learning opportunity to gain more career information on pursuing a career as a heavy equipment operator or developer. Operators and developers continue to fill a desired role in the workforce. Nearly every construction project, from bridges to power plants to homes, airports, everything in between, relies on the skilled labor and expertise of the heavy equipment operator to get that project up and running. This career field is estimated to grow by 23% by the year 2022. If you have questions during today's tour, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to submit them, and we'll get to them as time allows. Today, we are joined by Marcus from Woodruff Construction, and Melissa from Iowa Skilled Trades is our great videographer, and they are on location near a dell. So we welcome them, and we look forward to their insights on what they're doing today, all the projects that are going on, and just the possibility of becoming an operator in the skilled trades field. So Marcus, take it away.
All right, they're ready for you to kind of start talking. Yep, about everything. Introduce yourself and then talk about what you're doing. And yeah.
My name is Marcus Wiley. I am from Woodruff Construction. I've been a crane operator for this company for 5 years now. Behind you, or behind Melissa there, picture of it. This is our crane that I mostly operate. It's a Cabelco CK850 lattice crawler crane. One of the most fun ones that I've actually ever operated before. Around the front here. We are currently doing a wastewater treatment plant for the city of Adel, which is going to be about 4 football fields stacked side by side. So a lot of the work we're doing with the crane is lifting heavy concrete forms up, setting them. That way we can pour the concrete in, and then we're also doing rebar mats. So you want to see how it operates?
Yeah, I bet they would love to see how it operates. Inside of the cab of the crane, and Marcus is.
So this is one of the smoothest cranes that we have in Woodruff Construction. We have 5 cranes total, but you know, step up on that there.
Yep, that's a good idea.
So you push this down, engage the PTO. You've got your main boom. You've got your main winch, and you've got your auxiliary winch.
Looks like we may be having some bandwidth issues with Melissa right now as they are on location. Right now, Marcus is inside the crane, giving us kind of a inside look to the cab and the operations and the controls with inside that. And now it looks like we're connected once again. So we'll let you take it from there, Marcus.
Okay. This crane has everything you need as far as it tells you your angle, how many pounds you're lifting, what you're capable of lifting, and then how many feet out you actually are so you can follow your load chart appropriately. We currently have a 120-foot of boom with a 40-foot jib, and we can get a reach of 145 feet. So.
Tell us what got you into this field and in this career.
Out of high school, I joined the operator and got to Iraq one time, and we were limited on guys, and they needed someone to operate the crane. And so I kind of jumped in. I learned self-taught how to use the crane, got out of the Marine Corps, did a little bit of college. I found Woodruff Construction. I was looking for crane operators. They actually offered to send me to crane school. So I went up to Wisconsin 3 weeks to crane school. They paid for everything, including 40-hour work weeks. Brought me back here, and I've been doing this ever since. So
What is some of the other equipment that you operate beyond the crane?
we have a dozer, we have a mini excavator, we have skid loaders, and we have Skytrack forklifts. So
What are some of the skills that you need to be able to operate equipment like this?
skills that Woodruff looks for is safety. Obviously, they want you to be safety oriented. They want you to be attention to detail, especially when you're in the forklift and you're in the skid loaders. There's not a lot of visibility from inside the cab. And so attention to detail is highly important. You have to be able to see what is around you. You have to be able to know what is around you, what's going on the job site. So say those are the two biggest, attention to detail and safety. Everything else can be taught or learned on the
So, you have all your winches that you're controlling in here. How long did it take you to figure out and been able to maneuver these things smoothly?
Not very long.
Okay.
It's usually when you jump into a new piece of equipment, it's usually a day, maybe if even that, to get used to the controls, because some are a little bit more jumpier than others. There's some that are electronically ran, some that are hydraulically ran. And when you're coming, if you say you've been operating the skid loader all day for 6 hours, and then I jump in the crane for a couple hours, skid loader, you're ramming, you're go, go, go. When you get in the crane, you've got to be a little bit more finesse, a little bit more softer to the touch, we'll say.
Okay. What's a day in the life look like? A typical day for you?
Typical day for me is we show up, we have our morning meeting, discuss what we're going to do for the day, what we want to accomplish, kind of the goals. And then I come out, I start all the equipment up, we do a 360 walk around, I grease everything, I make sure the fuel, the oil, the fluid levels are all good to go. Start the equipment up, let it warm up, and then we go. Typical day in the crane is we'll track it from here where it's out of the way down to where we need it, where we'll be working for the day. And whatever we're going to be moving, whether it's forms for the concrete for the walls or forms for the concrete for the catwalk, rebar, we crawl over there, we'll lift it up, we set it in place. A lot of crane operating involves lifting things, swinging over, setting it, and then waiting. So you're actually sitting in the cab doing nothing for 10, maybe 15 minutes while they tie everything in place and make sure that they can release you from the crane with no issues coming up.
So you were telling me this is a water treatment plant. That's the site we're on right now. What are some other projects that you typically work on?
Typically, we have been doing a lot of water treatment plants. We do commercial construction, so we have done a lot of some pearl maze. We have done banks and everything like that, which I would say banks are my favorite because setting roof truss and setting the air conditioning and the roof panels and everything up there are a lot of fun.
How many guys do you have on a crew when you're out on a water treatment plant or a bank or a building like that?
Typical crew day to day would probably be 5 to 6 people.
Okay.
We don't have big crews, but everybody we have works very well together. And so when we get new people, they adapt to that and we teach them versus criticize them. So when we get everybody that works together, it tends to take less guys because you can focus on, a couple guys doing this project, a couple guys doing this project, and they can work coexistently and not have an issue as far as getting in each other's way.
So kind of that work smarter, not harder type
Yes.
of a mentality.
Exactly.
Very good. Very good. What are some other pieces of advice you can give to the students on here when they're looking at the different options in front of them?
If you're looking at heavy equipment, don't give up right away. Nobody is born an operator. Somebody may be born and better than another, but when you're becoming an operator, it takes time and it takes skill, or what's the word I'm looking for? It takes time to learn everything you need to know and to get that finesse down that most heavy equipment operator companies are looking for.
Very good. So we'll let Tell me about what else we can see out here on the water treatment plant. We can kind of move over towards where this construction is happening and give these kids a little bit more. I'm gonna hand you the camera while I get down, Marcus. I'll hand you the camera.
As we're kind of walking to the next point in our tour today, can you tell us maybe about the different soil makeup and how that affects the work that you do, whether it's more sand-based, clay-based? What impact does that have on the process?
He was explaining to me today that it's really hard right now to find dry dirt to start building up the berms for this water treatment plant. What other questions might you?
Right now, they are backfilling with mostly clay.
Mostly clay.
Up until they get to a foot from the top, and then they'll use straight black dirt to get us to that point of the finished grade.
Okay.
And then does that have to set for so long before you can continue construction, or how soon after you do that backfill can you start the next process?
As they're backfilling now, they're running it over with the grader and other equipment, and then they go through with the roller, and they compact it right away, and they'll run it over with the roller a couple of times and get it down to there. And then after they get to a certain point, let's say a couple feet up from where they were the last time, they'll actually have a guy come out. He will test the soil and make sure it's at 98% compaction. And if it is, then it passes. If not, then they have to continue to roll it over with the roller until it meets standard.
So I'm gonna show you and zoom in on a roller so that you guys know the different equipment that he is, Marcus is explaining. So back here, you can see the roller, and that's with it looks like a roller on the back of the cat equipment over there. So that is what is driving over to compact that dirt to the 98% compaction.
All that is a tractor with a heavy steel ball attached to it that just adds weight to the dirt to compact it down as they roll it over.
And then Marcus, tell us a little bit about the scraper here and what they're doing.
So scraper is the most efficient way to move dirt. What they do is it goes through, he lowers the bucket, as you can see now, and he's scooping up dirt to fill the bucket in the back. Once he gets done, he'll close that up. He'll swing around to the other side where they're backfilling, and he'll actually open that back up and let the dirt, there's another piece, hydraulic, that will push the dirt back out and raise up the level.
We had a question come in that Marcus referenced kind of a typical crew. They're wanting kind of more specifics on what makes up a typical crew, like how many people, what kind of job titles are we talking about?
A typical crew with Woodruff Construction is you have 5 to 6 people. You will have a crew leader. Like right now, we're doing a lot of concrete work and a little bit of carpentry. So you'll have a crew leader. You might have a carpenter on there, and you'll have a couple guys that are more fluent with concrete to go in there. That way, once you do pour it, they're able to vibrate it and they can finish the top of it. We'll hold on a second while he passes. Okay.
Did you guys get all that about the crew?
We got crew leader, and then from there it kind of cut out because of the noise from the machine.
Back to the crew leader part.
So you'll have typically a crew leader. You'll have a guy who's more fluent with carpentry, because there is going to be woodwork projects on the concrete jobs. And then you'll have a couple concrete workers who are going to be the vibrating the concrete walls as you pour it. They're going to make sure the finished product is smooth and where they want it. But that's typically it. You'll have a crew leader and a couple of guys that they could be leaders, but they're just there to work because that's what they know and it's what they do.
And how many hours, Marcus, do you think you'll be on the work site today?
Today we'll be here for 8 hours. we do a pretty good job at staying on track so we don't fall behind, and we don't do a whole lot of overtime. But 8 hours a day, and then we get a little bit ahead.
Marcus, tell boots on. What are some other like
Basic tools to start in any construction industry really is a tape measure, a speed square, a hammer, and some pencils. Most job sites will actually give you pencils for free, so you don't need a whole lot. When you go to a job, they will give you a hard hat. They will supply safety glasses for you, and then a lot of them will actually supply gloves as well. So it's very easy. Construction is very easy to get into, and then once you're in it, you get to kind of pick your specialty in what direction you want to go. Do you want to be more of an operator? Do you want to be more of a carpenter? Do you want to go more towards concrete work? You get to kind of pick your direction, and you get to pick your future, what you want to do.
Marcus, is there
we're
typically
gonna start moving back. We're gonna just move back so that we don't have the excess noise from this scraper, so that Ann,
Okay.
you can finish with your questions. All right, Ann, what you were starting with the question there.
Sure, Marcus, is there one piece of equipment that you feel like you're constantly looking for operators for? Is there one piece that is really high in demand that maybe is a little more skilled to it, or is there just demand all around for all pieces of equipment?
There's demand all around. You've got your entry level piece of equipment at skid loader. There's a high demand for that everywhere you go. It's one of the most valuable pieces of equipment on a job site because you can use it to carry tools from one location to the next. You use it with a forklift attached to it. You use it with a bucket attached to it to move dirt. You're constantly, construction gets very muddy, especially this time of year. So you're constantly having to go out and fix roads, and having the more guys that are on a job site that are able to do that, the better, because then somebody can just jump in one if they're like, say they have a little bit of downtime where things are slow, they can jump in it, they can go and they can fix the road, clean the dirt up, dry it up a little bit. But as far as equipment wise, there's a high demand everywhere for it. There's not really one piece of equipment that they need it more than others. And so, go ahead.
Marcus, do you guys have to travel a lot? So typical road crews would be traveling all over to, to build those roads and the different water treatment plants. Do you have a lot of travel in where you're overnight and not at home at night?
We do not. I have been here 5 years, and I've spent a total of 3 weeks on the road, and that was optional. Basically going over to Iowa City to help out that branch for a little bit when they were behind on a project. So Woodruff Construction does not really do a whole lot of traveling. It's home every night. We're out of Ames, Iowa. We're out of Fort Dodge, and we are out of Waterloo and Iowa City. Out of the Ames office themselves, this hour drive to Adel is the farthest I've actually ever been away from the shop. So.
Do you have more questions for Marcus while we have him out here on the site?
Marcus, what's your favorite piece of equipment to operate?
You're looking at it right now. The Cabalco is by far my favorite because it's smooth, it's safe, it's newer, so it's got the heat, it's got the AC for year-round comfort. It's a very well-oiled piece of machine. You take care of your equipment, and it will take care of you. What I've always said to our mechanics is, if you don't schedule time for your equipment maintenance, your equipment will schedule time for it to be maintained itself. So always take care of the equipment, whether it's just daily checks and services or if something does not sound right, get somebody on it right away.
what is the biggest piece of equipment that Woodruff Construction utilizes?
Once again, you're looking at it right now.
Okay. As we have a group of students joining us today, what words of advice do you have for them, and why should they consider a career pathway as an equipment operator?
Career pathways as an equipment operator they're rewarding. You're not necessarily doing the same thing day in and day out. Let's say you're operating the skid loader for a week, and then you're operating the dozer for a week. If you have the certifications to operate the crane, you can get in the crane. There's not a limited amount of equipment that you're operating. You've got graders, scrapers, you've got dozers, you've got backhoes, you've got mini excavators, you've got cranes, you've got forklift of multiple sizes, you've got track loaders. There's so many options. You get to go out there and you can pick what you want to use after you've got the experience. And that when you're on a job site in a large construction company, that's your machine. You get to basically claim it and you become the expert on it.
Marcus, the project that you're working on, what's the kind of timeline from the time you started at that site to finished product? Like, how long of timeline will this project take?
So most water treatment plants that we do will take anywhere from 9 months to a year, maybe a little over a year. Since this one is the largest scale that we've ever done, it's approximately 2 years. So we started this one at the end of summer 2020, and we will not finish it until around May, June in 2022.
Marcus, we, obviously live in the great state of Iowa, and we have four very distinct seasons. How does that affect your workload?
Springtime, raining, it gets muddy. So we just throw on muck boots and we get to work. Usually when it is raining, we go inside the trailer, we'll sit inside the Connex or something like that and wait it out unless it is scheduled for all day. But weather itself doesn't affect us too much. Superintendents, project managers, they do a really good job as far as the winter months go. When they know it's going to be below 10 degrees, it's going to be freezing outside. They have other work that we can do, and we actually have a shop in Ames that we go to, and we build boxes, build frame mounts for different things. So they do a really good job of planning and keeping us at work for a minimum factor.
Marcus, you talked about some morning meeting. What do you guys talk about in that morning meeting? What is the agenda and reasons behind it?
We'll start with like a Monday morning. We go in, and the first thing we do is a toolbox talk. It's just something our safety coordinator for the company goes through, and it's basically just a safety item he wants to hit on every week, like the ladder. It's got to be 3 rungs above the top of the wall that you're climbing in off of. So we'll do a toolbox talk, and then we'll talk a little bit of safety for the week. We have a program where if something happens and an employee gets injured or almost gets injured, it's called a near miss. We report that, and then the next week we talk about the near misses from the week before. That way we can kind of go over and prevent anything like that happening again. So we talk toolbox talk, we talk safety, and then we just go over the plans for the day and plans for the week for the job site, what the goals are that we want to achieve throughout the week, what we want to hit as far as labor number wise, material number wise, just so we're all on the same page and we can all put our best effort forward.
Safety is definitely top priority on any job site. So thank you so much, Marcus, for sharing your time and your talents with us this morning. Melissa, thank you for being our wonderful videographer. If you want to find out more information about skilled trades, we highly encourage you to check out iowaskilledtrades.com. Also, if you want more opportunities for these live events, check out the Iowa Intermediary Network at iowain.org. So thanks again to Woodruff Construction for allowing us on site this morning for an awesome tour to explore the pathway of becoming an operator. So thank you again, Marcus and Melissa, and we look forward to more events like this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.